Angela opened her eyes slowly as the sun gently shone through the curtain of her small but neat bedroom. She yawned and stretched her arms, feeling the soft cotton bedsheet under her fingers. It was Monday again. The weekend had come and gone like a breeze. She sat up on her bed and looked around the quiet room. Everything was still. There was no sound of laughter, no footsteps, no voices, just silence. But Angela was used to it. She had lived alone in her small flat in Abuja for the past 4 years. She stood up and walked to the window. The streets below were already busy. Cars honked, street sellers shouted, and people hurried to their jobs. Angela smiled faintly. She loved the city. It was loud and full of life, but it was also where her dreams lived. Angela went into the bathroom, splashed water on her face, and brushed her teeth. Her salon opened by 9 a.m., and she never liked to be late. She had customers waiting, women who wanted braids, weaves, ponytails, and cornrows. Making people beautiful was her passion, and she was good at it. After dressing in her favorite jeans and a pink top, Angela tied her scarf and stepped into the warm Abuja morning. Her salon was just down the street, tucked between a bakery and a clothing store. She loved that little space. It was her world, her escape, her pride. Angela swept the floor of her salon even though it was already clean. It was something she did every morning, not just to prepare the space for customers but also to clear her thoughts. The scent of hair cream, shampoo, and relaxer hung lightly in the air. The colorful chairs, mirrors, and hair tools were neatly arranged. The salon felt like home, more than her flat ever did. Soon, our first customer of the day arrived, a young lady named Mimi who wanted long braids. "Good morning, Auntie Angela." Mimi greeted with a wide smile. Angela smiled back. "Good morning, my darling. How you dey?" "I dey fine. Not only your hand fit touch my hair," Mimi replied, giggling. Angela chuckled. "Come and sit down, dear." This was what she loved. Her hands worked magic with hair, and everyone who came left feeling prettier, stronger, and more confident. It gave her joy. But behind the smiles and laughter, Angela carried something heavy in her heart. She tried not to think about it. She tried to forget the things her mother said last week during a phone call. "You dey do hair, but which man don carry you go meet him people?" her mother had asked with a sharp tongue. "All your sisters don marry finish. Not only you remain. Angela, you no shame." Angela had stood silently with the phone pressed to her ear, her chest tight. Her mother's laughter wasn't sweet. It was bitter. Mocking. And it hurt more than a slap. Her sisters, all 3 of them, Faith, Grace, and Ella, were married now. They had homes, children, and husbands. They had done everything expected of them. But Angela? She was still alone in her late 30s, still chasing work, still fixing other people's hair while hiding her own broken pieces. Because of this, the once close bond she had with her family had grown cold. Calls became fewer. Messages were short. Family gatherings were awkward. Sometimes, she chose not to go at all. People in the neighborhood often asked her the same thing, "Angela, fine woman like you, how come no husband yet?" She always gave the same smile. The same gentle laugh. "No God dey write everybody's story," she would say. But deep inside, Angela felt the sting. Every wedding invitation from her sisters, every baby picture in the family group chat, every post her mother made about being proud of her 3 blessed daughters, it left Angela feeling like she didn't belong. So she poured herself into her work. She braided with joy. She styled with passion. She made her customers feel loved because maybe, just maybe, that was how she wanted to feel too. The next evening, Angela sat alone on her sofa, the small TV in her flat playing a romantic movie she wasn't really watching. Her hands were folded in her lap, and her heart felt heavy. The salon had been busy, filled with laughter and smiling faces. But now, in the quiet of her room, she felt the emptiness again. She had prayed this prayer so many times. On her knees in her room. At church altars. At singles meetups and women's conferences. She had even traveled outside Abuja to attend the famous prayer mountain once. She had fasted. She had sowed seeds. She had stood in long deliverance lines while hands were laid on her head and people shouted over her. Still, nothing changed. There were times she pushed herself to go out. She would dress nicely, wear perfume, and go to Christian singles events or social hangouts. She would smile at strangers and pretend to be okay. But she always came back home alone. So eventually, Angela made a quiet decision in her heart. She would stay chaste. She would focus on her work and her peace. She would stop chasing love. If it came, fine. If it didn't, she would not die trying. But no matter how strong she tried to be, the mockery never stopped. During family visits, her mother never missed a chance to insult her, always with a smile on her face. "No, so you go dey old inside hair salon. The kind man you dey wait for no dey this word again," she would say, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sometimes it was worse. She would call neighbors over and say, "This one not my first daughter. Beautiful but stubborn. No man fit stay with her. She too proud." Angela never answered back. She would just smile, excuse herself, and go outside. Sometimes she would sit in the compound alone, tears quietly running down her cheeks. No one ever noticed. Her sisters weren't much better. Whenever they came to the family house with their babies for the holidays, they acted like she was invisible. They would roll their eyes when she walked in, whisper and giggle behind her back, and make loud comments like, "Some people just they useless for house. Only them know wetin they chase husband away." Angela would help carry their children, serve food, sweep the house, and still, they would complain. "Angela, you too slow dear. Drop the baby. You dey old small. Still, she remained calm. She told herself that silence was strength. She reminded herself that God was watching. But at night, when everyone was asleep, she would bury her face in her pillow and cry. The kind of cry that came from deep inside. A silent, shaking cry that no one could hear. And in those quiet hours, Angela wondered if love was something she would ever truly have, or if it had already passed her by like a bus she missed in the traffic of life. Angela sat at the back of her salon one evening, staring out the small window that looked onto the dusty Abuja street. Her comb and scissors lay on the counter, untouched. The last customer had left 2 hours ago, but she didn't feel like going home yet. Her phone had been buzzing earlier, Faith had called twice, then Grace, and then even her mother sent a voice note. But Angela didn't answer. She just turned the phone face down and let the silence take over. That day, she made a decision. A strong, quiet decision. She was done. No more calls. No more text messages. No more family visits. She was tired of being mocked. Tired of being reminded that she was the only one without a husband. Tired of the shame, the gossip, the pain. If this was the price of being the first daughter, she didn't want it anymore. Angela stood up and locked the salon gate. She walked home slowly, her steps lighter than they had been in a long time. That night, she wrote in her journal. "From today, I choose peace. I choose joy. I choose myself. No more trying to fit into the box my family placed me in. I am more than their pity. I am more than their mockery. I am enough." And so, she began her new journey. Weeks passed. Then months. Angela stopped checking the family WhatsApp group. She muted it. She didn't pick calls from her mother anymore. When her sisters called, she pressed decline. She didn't go home during the holidays. Instead, She stayed in Abuja, treated herself to small things: ice cream after work, a walk in the park, a new dress from the boutique across the street. Her salon became her heaven. She laughed more, played soft music while walking, and even offered free hairstyles to young girls from the neighborhood once a week. Her customers noticed. "Auntie Angela, you dey shine these days, oh," one of them said with surprise. She smiled. "Obi, you don't win lottery." Angela laughed softly. "I just choose to be happy." Another customer stared at her. "You don't fall in love." Angela just smiled. "Not with a man, with my life." The salon, once filled with quiet work, now rang with laughter. Angela joked with customers, told funny stories, and hummed as she braided. She wasn't pretending anymore. She was truly happy. For the first time in years, she felt light. She felt alive. And every night before sleeping, she would kneel down and say just one short prayer. "Thank you, God, for helping me find myself again." Little did she know, peace wasn't the only gift that was coming her way. The sun was bright that Sunday afternoon as Angela walked out of church. She wore a soft green gown that danced in the wind as she walked. Her heart felt light. It had become her routine: church first, then her favorite restaurant tucked quietly in the corner of town. It was a small place with red chairs and calm music. The food was always warm, and the people there knew her by name. Angela stepped in, smiling at the familiar waiter. "My usual, please." She found a corner seat by the window and relaxed. It was her little moment of peace. When the food arrived, jollof rice, plantain, and grilled fish, she ate slowly, enjoying each bite. She didn't check her phone. She didn't rush. She just savored the moment. And that was when she saw him. A well-dressed man, probably in his early 40s, walked in. He wore a sky blue shirt and dark jeans. He looked around, smiled politely at the waiter, and then, surprisingly, walked straight toward her. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Sorry to disturb you." She blinked, surprised. "Yes. Do I know you?" He smiled. "Not yet. But I've seen you here before. Every Sunday after church. I always wanted to say hi but didn't want to seem forward." Angela laughed softly, her cheeks warming. "Well, now you have." "I'm Tosin," he said, stretching out his hand. "Can I join you?" She nodded. Why not? They talked for over an hour. About work. About life in Abuja. About favorite meals and church messages. Tosin was kind, respectful, and had a warm, calm voice that made Angela feel strangely safe. Before leaving, he asked, "Can I have your number? I'd like to talk again, if that's okay." She hesitated for just a second, then gave it. From that day, their conversations grew. Daily phone calls. Light jokes. Good morning text. Weekend check-ins. He even visited her salon one day, sat quietly, and waited while she braided someone's hair. He complimented her hard work. He didn't rush anything. Weeks turned into months. Angela found herself looking forward to Tosin's messages. She laughed more. She prayed more. She hoped more. Then, one Friday evening, he called and said, "Angela, would you please go out with me tomorrow? Just dinner. Somewhere quiet." She agreed. That Saturday evening, Tosin picked her up in his clean black car. They went to a beautiful rooftop restaurant that overlooked the city. The lights twinkled. The breeze was soft. And the food was forgotten the moment Tosin held her hand gently and said, "I didn't come into your life to play, Angela. I've prayed about this. I see a good woman. A kind woman. A strong woman. I want to build something real with you. I want to marry you." Angela froze. For a second, her heart didn't move. She stared at him, unsure if she had heard correctly. "Marry me," she whispered. Tosin nodded. "If you have me." Angela looked down, then up at the stars above them. All those nights of crying. All those prayers. All the pain from her family. All the silence and shame. And here was this man, asking for her heart without pressure, without noise, just peace. She smiled slowly. A deep, honest smile. "Yes," she said softly. "Yes. I'll marry you." That night, as they drove home, Angela leaned back in the seat, tears gently filling her eyes, but not from sadness. From hope. The weeks that followed felt like a dream to Angela. For the first time in her life, someone saw her fully, without conditions, without judgment. Tosin was everything she had never dared to pray for anymore: patient, thoughtful, and deeply kind. He made her laugh. He prayed with her. He held her hands when she felt nervous. He respected her silence, and more importantly, he respected her journey. One afternoon, Tosin said, "Angela, I want to do this the right way. I want to meet your people." Angela paused, her heart suddenly heavy. "You want to meet my mother?" "Yes," he said softly. "I want her to know my heart for you." Angela looked away. "It's been a while since I saw her. Things haven't exactly been good between us." "I understand," Tosin replied. "But let's try. Just once." So, a week later, dressed in a simple but elegant lace gown, Angela traveled with Tosin to her family house. Her heart beat fast as they stepped out of the car. The same compound that once felt cold now held a different kind of silence. They knocked. When her mother opened the door and saw Angela standing beside a handsome, confident man holding her hand, her eyes widened in shock. "Tosin, meet my mother," Angela said calmly. Her mother blinked, then forced a smile. "Welcome. Come inside." The visit was short but polite. Tosin spoke respectfully, introduced himself, and shared his intentions to marry Angela. Her mother listened without interrupting. Her sisters peeked from the corner of the hallway, surprised beyond words. After that day, things moved quickly. The traditional introduction, wedding plans, venue choices, fabric selection, food tasting, everything began to fall into place. Angela had once feared she would never wear a white gown. But now, she stood in front of a mirror on her wedding day, dressed in a flowing white dress that shimmered in the light. Her eyes sparkled. Her smile was soft and true. The ceremony was grand. The hall was decorated with soft flowers and gold ribbons. Music played gently in the background. People came from far and near, neighbors, customers, old classmates, even strangers who had watched her story from afar. Tosin stood tall and proud as Angela walked down the aisle. He looked at her like she was the only one in the room. The vows were spoken with trembling voices. Rings exchanged. Tears flowed. And when the pastor pronounced them husband and wife, the hall erupted in joyful applause. Angela had never felt so loved. The reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and more food than anyone could finish. Her customers from the salon came in groups, all dressed in matching outfits. "That's our Angela," they cheered. "Our golden hands bride." But what Angela didn't expect happened near the end of the celebration. As the music slowed, her mother and sisters suddenly walked up to the stage. They weren't smiling. Their eyes were red. One by one, they knelt down in front of her. Her mother's voice shook. "Angela, I mocked you. I hit you. I said things a mother should never say to her child. Please, forgive me." Faith sobbed. "We treated you like nothing. We judged you. We made fun of your pain. Forgive us." Angela stood frozen. The entire hall had fallen silent. She looked at them, her mother, her sisters, their children. People she had once longed to be close to. People who had caused her deepest wounds. She took a slow breath. "I forgive you," she said quietly. "From my heart." They wept louder. But even as she embraced them, a part of her heart ached. The pain didn't disappear just because of an apology. The scars remained. The nights she cried alone, the words that pierced her soul, the years she spent begging God for love, they couldn't be erased in one moment. But Angela chose to forgive. Not for them, but for herself. Because she had found something greater than revenge. She had found peace. And a kind of love that no one could take from her anymore. As Tosin held her hand that evening, she smiled through her tears. And from that day onward, Angela and her husband Tosin lived happily ever after. Their home was filled with laughter, peace, and mutual respect. They became best friends, partners, and soulmates. No matter what life brought their way, they held on to each other, proving that true love finds you at the right time, and in the most unexpected ways. But now, I have a question for you watching this video. If you were Angela, would you forgive your mother and siblings for all the pain and mockery they caused? Or would you hold on to the resentment and give them a taste of their own medicine? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd really love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I truly appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more, please don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Your subscription helps me keep creating meaningful content just for you. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and stay inspired.